Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Hayley Osborne Show. This is episode 112, and I am so glad that you are here. Today, I really want to talk about some signs that you might be seeing, but not quite seeing, because like when you're so close to things, you can't see them anymore within your marketing strategy that isn't working and what you can do about it. So, you might be throwing spaghetti at the wall. You might be that type of person, just doing whatever works. Or you might have a marketing strategy that you are working towards and working through inside your business to help you to be able to achieve the goals that you want to be able to achieve throughout the year. But it's not sticking, it's not working. So there are a few signs that you may need to change what you're doing that I commonly see and I've found when I work with business owners. And I thought it would be a great time to address that here on the podcast as we are recording this podcast. As you know, if you are an avid listener, last week not last week, the week before, so it's coming out soon at the end of the month, recorded an episode with David Kosh, from Koshi's Business Builders and the Sunrise. It'll be airing on Channel 7 for Koshi's Business Builders, where I mentored a business on growth strategies inside their business. And it was super fun, and I absolutely loved it. But before we get started, I really just want to take a moment to talk to you about a special little thing that I've been working on. You may have seen it. It's a bit of a soft kind of a launch for me, but I want to let you know one of the best things I've ever done for growing my business is get really clear on my story. And, my story's changed over the years from where I started my business to where I am now. And I've had to morph and change with the times, starting out this business with no kids, with a different name and a different style of business to where I am now with kids, working under the Hayley Osborne brand. And therefore, my story has had to really change. So I wanted to officially welcome to the table superhero storytelling. So it is my 4-week experience for small business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who are really ready to discover the superpower inside their business and frame it into a really dynamic story to tell. So clearer storytelling, beautiful messaging, and an increase in sales, because that's what happens when you're really clear on your story. Everyone else around you through your marketing becomes very clear on who you are and what you do as well. And so I found that a lot of business owners revert to selling as opposed to storytelling, and that's not the way to go. So when you're trying to sell on your social media, it's like throwing water balloons at a porcupine, okay? Through your marketing, it's the same thing. These platforms require an element of storytelling and an element of, know, like, and trust. So people have to get to know you before they even like you. And then when they like you, they trust you. And then if you are consistent in your approach, it's not until they need what you have to offer that they're going to consider you as part of their repertoire, which is so massive. And so I encourage you, and I'll say this till the cows come home, that you need to really storytell your way to growth. So within superhero storytelling, you will learn the best frameworks and tools that I've built and created to develop my story and what it is today, so you can use them in your business to create your story too. And it's been designed by me to help you understand your unique strengths and how to harness them through storytelling. And it is storytelling with strategic thought that is the key to growing your business. I've worked with so many businesses over the years, and this is the one thing that keeps coming up as massive blocks. And once this element's really nailed, the rest becomes so much easier. It feels so good when you get back to that origin story and what that looks like for you to tell it really proudly in different ways that will resonate with your audience at different levels, depending on where they're at in their journey, so they can really relate to you. And it's time to develop the setting and environment for your narrative to be really aligned everywhere your business shows up, like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, if you're on Twitter or TikTok, and most importantly, your website. It is the key. This is the key to showing you how. I have found over the many businesses I've worked with that inside your business, it's really important to frame everything you talk about in a way that is relatable to your audience from where they're currently at in their journey to potentially where they could be when they start working with you or purchase your product, which is beautiful. So move over selling and get really comfy storytelling your way to sales. There is a unique trait that most business owners have that are successful, and they're very good at storytelling, and people buy from people. Okay, people buy from stories, and we can all create really amazing stories behind our brand and behind our business. And it's discovering, I like to call it your superpower that ultimately really works to attract your dream clients. And I found that doing this for myself was such an amazing process, and it can be for you too. This experience starts on June 11. Go to superherostorytelling.com to enroll now, because it's time for me to show you how to actually do this inside your own business. And I'm so excited. And I don't want you to be boring your audience anymore with just buy my stuff. Here's my service. It just doesn't work like that. Times have changed. Anyway, okay. So without further ado, let's get into today's podcast episode. And I wanted to talk about the 5 signs your marketing strategy isn't working and what to do about it. So it's kind of a funny thing, right? Where it's like you kind of know that you need something, and it's like that stone in your shoe that is there, but you can walk on it. It'll be okay for a while until it's like you have to actually stop and empty it out. And that's kind of the same way that a marketing strategy works is, when it doesn't, when the pipeline dries up, when you focused all your eggs in one basket and all of a sudden that basket is empty, and so is your pipeline. And that is not like a very nice place to be. So I wanted to kind of point these out as the signs that I see often and what you can actually do about it to fix that. So, when you've got new potential clients coming through the door throughout different channels at the same time, that feels really lovely. But if you're constantly just focusing on one avenue, you're going to set yourself up for failure eventually, even though it might seem good now. And you're kind of riding that wave, but then, it will come to, it inevitably always comes to a point where you will be stuck, and, you will kick yourself and say, oh, I wish that I had done that sooner. I wish that I had added those layers into my business sooner so that I wasn't in this place. And, you need to protect yourself, especially in this day and age. Like, people are nimble, people change, things evolve, and, people aren't loyal to anyone. So it's important that you, as a small business owner, become quite nimble in your approach to how you market your business and how you position yourself in the market, and where are you focusing your efforts on your brand awareness. So the first one I want to kind of say as a bit of a red flag, and I saw this actually recently with a client and friend of mine, that their main source and generator of income had jumped ship to use another service. And so they found themselves in a bit of a transition period where they hadn't done any other marketing, and this main stream of income they decided that they wanted to use someone else. And so if you've got one main source slash generator of income, so you get a lot of your work, say, from a government agency, or you get a lot of your work, say, from a really big corporate client, and you're kind of sitting comfy and you're okay with that, I would honestly, for your own good, look at other ways to generate that income, because that is a surefire way to set yourself up for failure eventually. Okay, because you never know what is going through people's thoughts, what is going through business owners' thoughts, what are going through consumers' thoughts. And if you don't have multiple ways of that people can come in to work with you, if you're not servicing, and marketing yourself in different avenues, or you've just decided, you're so busy right now that you aren't putting effort into your socials or anything like that because you don't need to, because you've got income, I'm going to say to you, please do that, because eventually, if you are relying on one big source, it will dry up. And I have seen this happen, and it is scary, especially if you have responsibilities, in your life, then you don't want that. So it's important to take a little bit of time out to figure out what other marketing strategies you need to do to be able to increase your brand awareness and therefore attract new clients. That is the very first thing I wanted to say. Is it is a bit of a red flag if you've got one main source / generator of income, that, is your strategy is not working, because you need to be doing more than that to safeguard yourself. The second thing that I want to say is that, a sign that your marketing strategy isn't working is that you're no longer proud in the way that you show up and add value to your audience, that you're lacking the confidence to show up and add value to your audience. And that is a really big sign that your marketing strategy isn't working. Confidence in and the pride that you have in your offerings and what you do. Just excuse me a minute. And no, I'm not going to press pause because I want to keep this as real as possible while I have a little drink. When you're confident and you're really proud of what it is that you have, they're two really critical components of being able to build an authentic brand presence. And I see this so many times as people become disconnected from their business and therefore aren't showing up in the way that they know that they can, because they're so stuck or set in their ways and lack any creativity around that to be able to be nimble enough to pull out these other beautiful ways to storytell or these other beautiful ways to show up. But when you start to lack that confidence and you're no longer proud, it is a big sign that your marketing strategy isn't working, because, the frequency of the universe can kind of feel that as well, and your audience can feel that. And so it's really important to be able to be like really proud, and, your communications need to be really authentic. But if they're lacking that authenticity that resonates with your audience, or that once did resonate with your audience, the best thing that you can do is recreate that. Spend some time with someone to look at creative ways to reignite that for you. And therefore it'll make you feel more confident, and it'll make you feel really proud of your business. And your audience today really value authenticity. And if you don't know that yet, it's time to really understand that, because, in business above all, it can be like really evident when you're not being authentic, and can really often detect when a brand isn't fully behind its message, which is super important, which can lead to, diminishing trust and engagement. Okay, it's gonna. Okay, so the third, and this is massive part to and sign that your marketing strategy might not be working and what to do about it, is you're really unorganized in the way that you approach your marketing. And I know that there will be some of you listening that go, that is me, hand on heart. That is me, Hayley. I am so unorganized in the way I approach my marketing. And, a lack of organization, I'm going to say to you, can lead to really inefficient use of both time and money. Okay, your financial resources. So without a clear plan, you might find yourself allocating budget towards things that don't align with your business goals or your audience's needs. And this then results in a really poor return on investment for you. And it can often result as well in really inconsistent messaging across different channels. And, when you're inconsistent, it can confuse your audience, which is something you don't want to do, because your audience is served with so many different messages as soon as they step out their house. So you really want to not dilute your brand's identity, what you stand for, and you don't want to make it difficult for people to choose you, and, why they chose you over your competitors. It has to be a really easy process. And so if you're really unorganized in the way you approach your marketing, it can be quite difficult for your audience to choose you over somebody else, because they see all sorts happening. And one way to be able to mitigate this is to organize yourself. So creating a marketing strategy is a really great idea. I have been sick. However, I just want to say it is absolutely inevitable recording a podcast episode every single week for the whole year that I am going to be well. So I just want to highlight that, to keep the wheels moving, it is what it is. And there's no way out of 52 weeks in a year that I am not going to be like sick. So I'm just, if you're thinking of starting a podcast, like this is kind of all of the things that go with it as well. So I'm just keeping it real, and I've always kept it real. And I always want to kind of showcase to you that like authenticity is really important. And that's what I stand for. And you'd know that if you follow me over on my social media. And so I call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And that is the way that I approach my teaching too. And all of the years I've spent in helping small businesses. And so, you know, I just want you to know that I keep it really real. And it's quite an organized way that I approach my marketing because it's authentic, right? And that is what resonates. And so if you can be really authentic and organized in the way that you approach your marketing across different channels, and you're consistent across different channels, this will help people to choose you over your competitors, the way that, I practice what I preach and show up. The fourth thing I want to talk about is it lacking or clarity and direction on what you want to focus on next. Okay, so this uncertainty, if you're having it, often points to a really deeper issue of misalignment between your marketing activities and your business goals. And so it is very clear to your audience as well. Even if you think, oh, I'm just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, I'm showing up, I'm doing the thing. Well, people can see that, okay? And like I said earlier, is people buy from people. And if you don't want to be, the front and center of your personal brand, that's cool. You keep your private life private, but figure out a strategy on how you're going to show up. So as I said earlier too, I've got kids. They don't appear in my social media. They don't need to. They don't appear in my marketing because that's not what I'm about. I'm about teaching you as a business owner how to create really nice and aligned activities and strategies with hopefully to have the biggest growth with the least amount of time and effort in your business. It's got nothing to do with my children. And so when I say be really authentic, there is a way that you can do that where you are not bearing your soul, where you have a strategy, where you are aligned in your messaging and you do have clarity and direction on what to focus on next without bearing your soul. And so without a clear understanding of how each marketing effort that you're doing contributes to achieve your specific objectives, I don't know, I'm getting technical now, but I just love this stuff so much. You're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be wasting your effort on things that don't drive your business forward. And I don't want that for you. I want you to move forward with clarity and like specifics on how you're going to grow your business and the direction that you're going to focus on next. And that's something that I really help my clients with. Because when there's lack of focus, both time and budget, there's a huge risk of you spreading yourself thin across multiple touch points. So everywhere you reach out in terms of your marketing, without significant impact. And it can lead to burnout and it can lead to financial strain without really meaningful rewards, which can, can't be sustained in the long run as a small business. So you've got to be really clear on the direction on what you want to focus on next. And lack of clarity is something that comes up a lot as a sign that your marketing strategy isn't working. And, what you need to do about it is get really clear and sit down and nut it out. The fifth point I want to say is if you are seeing a decline in engagement and conversion rates. So this can be a sign that your marketing strategy isn't working as well, and you need to change it. If you notice that you are consistently dropping in engagement on your social media posts, your lack of open rate in your emails, you've got low interaction with other marketing materials, it's another kind of red flag that your content may no longer be resonating with your target audience, right? Because people move on. So when they discovered you, your product or service or whatever it is that you do, they were at a particular point in time and they then move on. And so to the next thing or the next big thing or whatever it is. And so your content may no longer be working with your target audience. So you need to be mindful of this and don't keep doing the same thing, because if you keep doing the same thing, you will always get what you've always got. Engagement is a key indicator of how well your messages are being received as well as interacted with. And a decline could suggest that it's really time to refresh your content strategy or your social media strategy, as well as your marketing strategy, and explore new channels and explore new ways of doing things, right? And not only will this expand and give more life to your business, but it will give it to you as well. And then when you see people interacting with what it is that you do across your marketing and they are loving it and they are wanting to work with you, this gives you an extra boost. And that is such a beautiful place to be in. And, it is your conversion rate, your marketing's conversion rate, that is a direct indicator of how successful your messaging is. And so that's what I will be talking about inside Superhero Storytelling, which is a short 4-week course where I will be taking you through how to create beautiful stories inside your business instead of selling. So if you're seeing fewer leads and, converting fewer customers, or if you've got sales that are stagnated or started to decline, like despite your same old marketing efforts, it's a strong indicator that your current strategy isn't hitting the mark. And it could be because your stuff's outdated, your messaging is outdated, you misalign with your customers' needs, or just, your marketing channels that you're working on are no longer effective. So just remember too that all of these points, that digital and traditional marketing trends move fast, okay, which means you need to as well. And in order for you to be able to move fast, to keep up with these things, you need to invest to be able to educate yourself on how to do that. Okay, so like listening to this podcast, for example, if you do want to work on your storytelling, my course starts on the 11th of June, and I am so excited. It is a beautiful experience where you can come along and learn from me. We go deep into storytelling and creating that beautiful narrative for you so that you can light up your business. All right, guys, that's it.